been on my mind. Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city light. Hey, darling, we could get out of town, see the beautiful world around, wanna see it now. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far.
Since all of these canned goods actually need to go down to my cellar for storage, and I'm also working on a big batch of salsa, and I need to make sure I have room for this down there, I'm going to go ahead and take you guys down there, show you guys where we store all of our canned goods, what we keep down there, what kind of things we can, and we'll have a big discussion about it all. Hi guys, so when we moved, we found out that over the winter my cellar had leaked at the old house and a lot of my canned goods were ruined, and we had to discard a lot of jars of stuff that had rusted or even popped open because of the excessive amount of rain that got in my cellar last year. So we built a shelf in here. We're going to add another shelf later, but we have one shelf in here so far, and I have been restocking it as the garden grows or as I see things on sale, because I do rely on this as a source of food for my family. So here's kind of where we're at right now. I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna show you everything in here, what we have and all that, and we'll kind of talk about some of the reasons I like canning foods. Okay, so starting at the top, we have bean soups, black beans, kidney beans, northern beans, pinto beans, and pork and beans. We have apple slices and apple sauce, cranberry sauce, apple pie filling, some random jellies somebody gave me a case of, and then all of this is various different jellies and jams, peppers, banana peppers, green tomato relish, okra, pickles, and pickled asparagus, green salsa, red salsa, corn, green enchilada sauce, squash, Swiss chard, carrots, potatoes, broth, chicken, beef, and turkey and gravy. I did not grow up canning food. My mom never canned anything. It was something that when I was about 18, I started growing a garden, and I had a bunch of cucumbers and I had a bunch of peppers that needed pickled, and it was just something that I had to learn to do like on my own. So I picked up a ball canning book at Walmart and some jars and some pickle brine, and I said, I'm gonna do this, and I just taught myself how to can. Once I learned how to pickle things, I started making jams and jellies, and well, it's escalated. That's really all I can say. Something that a lot of people don't know is that I can things. And then when they follow me on Facebook, they're like, you're too young to be doing that, which I find interesting. My grandma canned, but she lives in California, and so we didn't get to spend a lot of time with her growing up. That being said, it's just kind of a new generational thing for me because, like I said, I taught myself to do it. I have been teaching my kids to do it. And it's, you know, it's wonderful because if I decide, for instance, tonight I took a ham out of the freezer. Actually, a ham fell out of the freezer. I was going to take out a whole chicken and air fry a whole chicken tonight, but I opened the freezer and I was trying to get the chicken out and the ham fell out, and I was like, you know what? We're eating the ham. So because we're having ham tonight, I can just bring in some cranberry sauce and we can have that with dinner tonight, and I don't have to worry about, you know, going to the store or if we have it on hand. But I mean, that's kind of the wonderful thing about it, is that there are so many things here that are customizable for our family, and so many things that are healthier and fresher ingredients than I could ever, you know, go pick up at the store. This is apple pie filling. We picked these apples at our friend's house. She calls me every year that they have too many apples, and we go pick apples. I do apple butter, apple jelly, apple sauce, apple pie filling. If I decide I'm gonna make a pie, I spring this in the house, dump it in my pie crust, or use it for a cobbler. We have dessert. You know, pickles, my kids eat tons of pickled items. Honestly, it's cheaper for me to grow some cucumbers and make a whole bunch of pickles than it is for me to constantly buy pickles. Or pickled asparagus. Pickled asparagus is like $9 a jar. And I get asparagus around Easter when it's $1 a pound. And I just do a whole bunch of pickled asparagus. Because I know it's something that'll get eaten. Same with Meeker eats anything pickled. So we've got asparagus, we've got banana peppers, we've got okra, we've got pickles. And anytime she's wanting something like that, she can just come down here and bring it up to the house, and she has a pretty good for her snack. Another good thing about this is that since these things are shelf stable, it can be the dead of winter. I don't need to go store it because I know we have beans, we have veggies, we have, you know, everything on hand we need to get by if we need to, if there's a winter storm or what have you. This is CJ and Bubba's favorite thing, pork and beans. They eat these straight out of the jar pretty often. They actually should eat less of those. But they bring those in the house all the time and eat them. This is pinto beans, but I did these ones in beef broth just for more flavor. I like to throw these, juice and all, into ground beef and season it for tacos or burritos, and it's just easy to have on hand. And then jellies and jams, we picked sand plums. I taught the kids how to make sand plum jelly. Let's see, this is apple butter from their farm, from their apples. This I actually made from Juicy Juice, sugar-free juice. I made strawberry peach jam with that. The kids really like that on biscuits. This is red hot jelly. This was just a fun experiment. But, sorry guys. I recently this week canned 50 something jars of corn. We picked this up very locally, fresh grown sweet corn from just about 2 towns over. And you know, this is probably the sweetest corn that I've ever actually bought from them. This is probably their best year for corn. We bought 7 bags. We gave 1 bag away, and then I pulled a bunch off the husk, bagged it up, vacuum sealed it. I also took some off the cobs, vacuum sealed it, and froze it. And then I filled up our veggie bin of the fridge with it, and then started canning it. This gives us a various, you know, different ways that we can eat it. We can pull out the cobs, make corn on the cob. We can pull out the bags, and I used my vacuum seal bags that actually Ziploc, so I can just pour some from there and put the rest back in the freezer. And then we have the corn like this that we know will not freezer burn, is shelf stable, and just a good way to save it. So we've got a lot of that. We have a whole lot of a whole lot. I'll show you one of my favorite things. This, somebody's gonna tell me, is gross looking. This is chicken thighs, and this is actually probably about a family pack of them. As you can see, there's a lot of fat and stuff in there, but this makes the best soups because there is chicken cooked in there. It's been cooked for, what's my cook time on chicken? 95 minutes? That might not be right. The point is, this was cooked in the jar. This broth is really good. I like having this on hand because if I'm sick or just really busy, I can throw soup in my crock pot. All I need is maybe some Swiss chard, some carrots, some corn, some potatoes, some green beans, some chicken, some tomato broth, and I have soup. You know, just season it up and we can eat. And this chicken is actually a lifesaver. I also have, this is breast. That's the difference between the thighs and the breast. This is, I think, 1.5 to breast. But again, this, typically I use the thighs in things like tacos or soups. I use the breast if we are gonna eat, say, quesadillas, or trying to think of the main things I use this for. Chicken salad, like with the grapes and stuff in it, because this is just prettier, it's all white. But this makes much better soups and things. you something else. My kids ate a bunch of this when I had COVID. The first time I had COVID, I was very, very ill. I came down with it in July. I don't think it was probably October before I could walk by myself really. I would get dizzy and pass out. I'd have seizures. I had a blood clot issue. I still have problems from COVID. It shot my blood pressure to 190 over 100. So when I say I had COVID, I mean like I had COVID. Like I got really sick. But this is something my kids ate a ton of when I had COVID. This is turkey and gravy. I know it probably doesn't look that appealing on camera, but at one point we'd eaten turkey for several days. We had turkey left over. I chopped it up and I put a bunch of it in jars, and there's actually probably about this much in here. And then I made turkey gravy with the drippings, and I thickened it up with Gel. I think that's what it is. I'll link it in the description box. But I thickened it up and poured the gravy over this and canned it. The kids, when I had COVID, many times made rice or mashed potatoes, heated up a jar of this and ate it over the top of it, and then they just made a veggie, and that was what they ate for dinner. And this was a literal lifesaver for my family because it was something quick and easy. And you know, my big kids had a lot on their plate. James was out of town working. My big kids were taking care of me. They were taking care of their siblings. They were taking care of a farm. You know, it was a lot. And this was one of the things that I was thankful for. I also have a bunch of different, let me show you. I have chicken stew. This is actually made from a leftover chicken I'd roasted and the carrots that were in it when I roasted it. I added some celery, some onion, and I added some thickened broth from the chicken. The kids eat this whenever they want chicken soup for lunch or chicken stew for lunch, but that is just one quick way they eat. Also, we have lots of taco soup, and this is CJ's favorite. This is a variation anyway. He actually prefers it white bean soup with turkey, but this one's roasted chicken. But there's roasted chicken, onion, celery, some shredded carrots, and mostly white beans with the chicken broth. And I can this up. And actually, when he has asthma flares, this is about the only thing he'll eat. He will go through. Last winter, he went through 40-something jars of it because his asthma was so flared up, and like he gets to where he gets hoarse in his breathing, his throat gets sore, and he will outright say he's not going to eat. And this is the only thing he'll eat, and he'll just put it on the stove, warm it up, and he'll eat the whole jar. And it's just one way to make sure he eats because he won't. But I mean, as a general, this is just, like I said, it's part of a process. It's a lot of work. It's not easy, that's for sure. You know, I have to grow the garden. I have to make sure the garden gets watered every day. I got to weed the garden. I got to can the food. You know, it's work, but it's worth it work. And I mean, look how pretty the pickles are, you know? I like knowing what I'm feeding my kids and knowing that I'm adding healthy things to their diet. And I like knowing that they get excited to eat the things that they helped grow or the things they helped can. Penny is my biggest in the kitchen when it comes to canning, but Maddie will help as well. It's just that I limit her jobs because she's young and I don't want her to end up getting hurt. But Penny is always hands-on, so is Bubba. Mika will help, CJ helps some. Okay, so Mika came to talk to me and now I forgot where I was. But anyways, as a general, I mean, this is a good way to preserve food. It is work, don't get me wrong, it's work. It's hot work, it's busy work, and it's work you have to stay on top of because you have to know, like if you have 100 jars of jelly, do you really need to be making more jelly this year? Probably not. Or in my case, if you have 50 jars of okra, do you need more okra this year? Probably not. But I had no dill pickles left. So this year I've been, every cucumber I pick has been dill pickles. And that is just because you have to kind of keep an eye on what you're using, what you're not using, what you need, what you don't need, what you're going to use more of than you realize, what you're going to use less of than you realize. And so it's a lot of work, but I feel like it's rewarding work. And I am, I'm proud of the work I put into it. I'm proud of knowing that I feed my family these foods. And if you have not ever jumped into canning, I say go for it. Make some pickles, make some jelly, make some pickled okra, do something simple, and before you know it, you'll be canning meats and soups and everything else, because it's just one of those things where you start out, a little nervous, but then once you get it kind of figured out, it is so fun to just jump into. Anyways, I just kind of wanted to chat with you guys about that while it's that kind of time of year where I'm just busy and canning all the time. I wanted to kind of share some of that with you guys. So I'm going to end this video. I'm actually going to get inside and make some salsa. So I will see you guys later. Bye.